Soul, written by James Fox. Fade in. Interior, Protectorate dropship, day. 20 Protectorate soldiers sit locked in armored chairs across from each other, their light gray armor washed in red light. Sweat trickles down the shaved head of Private First Class Michael Lee, Chinese in his early 20s. He sucks air in a vain attempt to not unload the contents of his stomach. He nervously fiddles with his rifle. Next to him sits Private First Class John Stavlos, also early 20s. His stubbly face and soldier's build make him appear meaner than he is. He grabs the barrel of Lee's rifle and glares at him. Sergeant Heather Umani, mid-20s, her slight stature belies a presence that radiates command. She runs her hands over her hair, checking it for battle readiness with practiced motions, and leans forward to tell Stavlos.
You need to make sure your battle buddy over there maintains muzzle awareness before you shoot someone, or himself.
Roger that, Sergeant.
Stavlos bonks Lee on the head. It has little effect, except to annoy Lee. Stavlos turns back to Umani and shrugs comically.
First-timers. Bet he'll shit himself on the way down.
Private Pio Skanda, early 20s, thin and willowy with dark complexion, contrasts significantly to the hulking red-haired Scandinavian Private Marlon Pavel, early 20s, next to him. They look at each other and roll their eyes at Lee's obvious nervousness.
I heard 5th Battalion got fucked up down there.
Bullshit. Rebels are shit.
You know who's not shit? Red Brennan. You think we'll run into him?
Pavel shrugs.
Fuck that traitor.
Oh, I hope we do.
He'd be the last thing you see. I heard he doesn't take any prisoners.
The compartment takes a somber moment.
Oh, bullshit. I could take his old ass, right?
Pavel sizes up Skanda.
No.
Cheers and laughter ease the mood.
What? I'm a stone-cold killer.
An alarm goes off. The red light flashes and the heads-up display systems in the soldiers' eye protection come alive. The soldiers' exosuits also come online, feeding power to their weapons and armor. First Lieutenant Randall James, 30s and hard-faced, stands up and faces the two rows of soldiers.
Listen up. Op org from higher confirms enemy activity on the ground. This non-precision drop...
James stops at the sight of sleeping trooper. His head hangs back with mouth open, drool running down a face only a mother could love. James kicks his leg, causing him to snap to. James gets close to his face.
You enjoy your nap cookie?
He makes some inappropriate gestures, which draws a chuckle from the rest of the troops. Female Trooper 2 sits next to him and leans in for a verbal jab.
So cruel under pressure. Idiot, wipe your face.
The sleeping trooper wipes the drool from his chin.
We are dropping into Hellas City behind enemy lines.
James motions to the map illuminated on the wall behind him, showing their projected movements and a huge dust storm at the city's edge.
Once you hit the dirt, get underground to rally point Zulu 1 before the dust storm takes over the city.
Various sections of the map illuminate to demonstrate the waypoints. Access points within surface buildings that penetrate into the underground main city, rally points, and mission objectives.
Once there, we'll advance towards the objective. The mission is to capture the Protectorate defense facility assigned to us and regain control of the ADA battery above
A
it.
red circle on the map designates the objective, Protectorate Defense Facility. Several other glowing indicators show division troop movements and known rebel forces still in the area. All the soldiers exchange various looks and check their gauntlet data pads. James bangs on the door leading to the cockpit of the ship. The lights change to amber.
A lot of good soldiers died on the ground for us to make this run. Don't fuck it up.
The jump master, in full battle rattle, stands to and walks down the row of soldiers to inspect their weapons, exosuit armor, and packs for the drop. All the soldiers stand and face the rear of the ship. The jump master motions for the soldiers to put on their helmets. They follow orders and put on their helmets. With all helmets on, the jump master nods at James, who hits a switch. The amber light flashes twice, then holds solid and vents begin depressurizing the cabin. Frost forms on the walls, and the sounds inside the aircraft fade away. The door cracks open, flooding the compartment with blinding light from the sun. The amber light blinks 3 times in slow succession, then turns green. All the soldiers spill out the back of the ship and into the light. Exterior, high Mars orbit, continuous. Lee jumps from the ship, and we see the surface of Mars below. Super, Mars. The altitude and curvature of Mars disorients Lee. He looks away and gives a loud gulp and burp, trying not to vomit. Small explosions and streaks of kinetic fire are seen in the distance. They continue their fall, nearly clipping ships below. A ship ahead is hit by incoming enemy fire and explodes. Shrapnel flies as a soldier ahead of him is ripped apart from the explosion. The wind begins to howl as they approach the thicker atmosphere. A cloud covers the surface below. Explosions are heard in the distance. Lee tries to control his breathing, breaking his panic attack. The explosions grow closer, and flashes of light are seen through the clouds. Flak explodes around them, and soldiers evaporate less than a click away. The soldiers clear the clouds, seeing other units dropping below them. An orange light washes over them. The city surface structures grow larger and larger. Soldiers begin to activate their thrusters, slowing their approach to the Martian surface. Lee looks up at the soldiers as he continues to fall. Lee finds Umani. Their eyes lock. She says something to him, but Lee can't make it out. He looks at his gauntlet. On Lee's gauntlet, Warno, invalid encryption. Back to sea. Umani powers her thrusters, slowing her approach. Lee's eyes return to Umani, then quickly back on the approaching Mars surface. Lee hits his thrusters. Exterior, luxury apartments, rooftop, day. The breathtaking skyline of Hellas City is disrupted by the thunderous roar of Lee's jetpack as he lands, almost losing his balance. He kneels, then disconnects his pack. He scans the horizon, observing the incoming sandstorm on the verge of overtaking the city. He checks his gauntlet. On Lee's gauntlet screen, mission AO unavailable. Back to Lee. He slaps his gauntlet in an attempt to get it to cooperate. Nearby explosions and small arms fire catch Lee's attention. His gauntlet beeps and he checks his map. He moves towards a door and kicks it open. Main credits. Exterior, asteroid belt. Super, Nemesis Station, Protectorate Operations Facility, main belt. A giant asteroid sits in the vastness of space. Speckled across the face are various docks, shipyards, factories, and defensive points. Interior, Nemesis Station. Crews scramble around and operate exterior cranes which refuel and refit a variety of spacecraft. Pilots stand in a cluster near their docking collars for a pre-flight briefing. Lieutenant Commander Simon Bongani, still tall and sharp in his mid-40s, addresses the group.
It is critical that all forces be identified before engagement.
Lieutenant Lisa Colt, her short cropped hair and unzipped flight suit gathered around her waist, make her seem younger than her early 20s. Her relaxed appearance contrasts significantly with her sharp eyes.
The pirates in our AO have upped their game, and the number of hijacked vessels have increased sharply. You'll find a dossier on each of the vessels in your briefing.
All their data pads show a manifest of each vessel, call signs, crew rosters, flight plans, and various details. On the screen is a massive freighter named Lady Orion, which has been missing for several months.
They seem to think command is too busy dealing with all that shit on Mars to notice what they're up to.
Victor Marconi, whose handsome looks should be on an advert somewhere. Mikhail Azaroff, a bit chubby for a pilot. An out-of-regulation, scruff-level, bearded Daniel Navarro.
So we need to keep an eye out for these or any further pirate activity.
Colt notices a group of Marines sitting atop gear cases playing poker with a VIP target deck. One of them, an older and attractive one, is making a lot of eye contact. Marconi notices and leans over to Colt.
No way that happens.
Something on your mind, Lieutenant?
No.
Sorry, sir. I asked him a mission-related question.
Noted. Shut it, Marconi.
Marconi pays closer attention.
Fact is, our intel here is limited, so watch your asses out there. Mara gives us at-will engagement, so if you sniff something, you kill it. Dismissed.
Colt makes her way across the flight deck to the group.
Hey.
Hey.
There's an awkward silence as the rest of the Marines make some space for the two to talk.
You saw me looking at you, huh?
Yeah, you could have just walked over.
Nah, I wanted a full picture. Beauty in motion.
Colt fails to suppress a wince at the really awful pickup line, but before she can respond, snickering erupts behind her.
Oh, my man, let me stop you right there.
We were talking.
Do you know who this is?
Colt looks like she's seen a ghost. The Marine just looks more confused.
I'll take that as a no. This is Lieutenant Lisa Colt.
He still doesn't get it.
As in Admiral Marine Colt, a.k.a. Mommy.
It sinks in. Now he looks like a man who's seen a ghost and exits with haste. Colt levels a blistering look on Marconi.
Just looking out for the best interests of my Admiral, sir.
He presents with a crisp salute and chuckles his way back to the others. Colt looks over at the now larger group, all pointedly not looking anywhere near her. Marconi is already retelling the story.
Did you see the look on his face? That was the highlight of this mission. I could literally die happy out there.
Interior, Rebel Base, War Room. The room is full of activity. Several large monitors flash with various helmet cams from active soldiers. Radio chatter as hushed tones fills the room from several sources. Frankie Zoya, a brilliant analyst with soft features and sharp eyes. She'd be beautiful if it wasn't for the soul-penetrating glare she levels at everyone like a weapon. She sits behind a computer. The makeshift ramshackle converted office building bustles with activity around her. On Frankie's computer screen, she hits a few commands, releasing a drone swarm visible as hundreds of tiny points being emitted from a rooftop. The drones immediately begin intercepting transmissions, recording and processing nearby conversations, and sending visual data on everyone that can be seen or heard. Her screen displays a seemingly unending cascade of data streams from the varied sources. She takes it all in, and her fingers are in continual motion, making adjustments, her eyes processing data lightning quick. Something catches her attention.
Why, hello there.
Enemy chatter is flagged on her screen. Her fingers fly across a keyboard and various controls to analyze the signals. She decrypts the signal. Her eyes go wide.
Got her.
She almost spills her cup of coffee, setting it down.
Command!
Senior Analyst looks her way.
Got something?
She nods and swings back to her screen, Senior Analyst 1 approaching quickly. Her fingers do the talking. The screen shows a triangulation of data streams and enemy communication regarding a high-value VIP needing immediate extraction and a safe house location. The signatures all match intel for Laura Castor, who is displayed on screen, her profile flagged as the Queen of Spades, and is priority 1 target.
What? How?
The question hangs in the air, and then he dashes off barking orders, referencing the grid map of the city displayed on the screens.
TAC 1, get me Viper 6 on the ground. Immediate change in mission objective. Rendezvous to grid Mike Alpha 125-78188 for high-value target.
Interior Rebel Base, McCarran private room. The room is sparsely decorated. Some boxes sit unopened, scattered about. It's controlled chaos. Edward McCarran, late 40s, clean cut with a casual charisma, sits at a desk going over information on a datapad. A chime draws his attention away. He leans back in his chair.
Come in.
Senior Analyst 2 strides confidently through the door. Edward looks tired.
What have you got for me?
A small pause, relishing the moment.
We found her.
Edwards is up in a flash.
Sindara?
Already on the ground and inbound to the target.
Stunned silence.
She's still in Hella City?
It appears so.
Edward swings a sport coat around his shoulders and grabs a heavy gold ring from the desk, putting it on his finger and wrapping it hard against the wood as he rushes towards the door.
How did we come by that intel?
An analyst, Frankie Zoya, pieced it together from deeply encrypted transmissions.
Edward considers.
Which of our flags popped?
None, sir.
Edward stops suddenly.
Then how?
Their encryption bypassed all our flags, filters, and traps. Zoya had her own custom catch-alls in place and manually decrypted it.
Sorry, this is still new to me, but that sounds difficult.
The senior analyst nods and motions they should continue walking.
Incredibly, sir. She was adjusting her packet inspection filters manually.
Edward looks impressed, then confused.
I don't even know what you just said, but sounds great.
They enter. Interior Rebel Base, war room, and all stand at attention. Edward motions they should continue.
Status?
Viper 6, arriving at target now.
Displays show troop helmet cam video feeds of Special Forces soldiers stacking up against the side of a building. Strips of blood-red cloth are tied to the left biceps of all their armor. Exterior, Protectorate Safe House, day. Protectorate Soldier 1 exits a building in a rough section of the city. The soldier slowly walks around the building, scanning the empty streets. His gauntlet begins to beep. On Soldier's gauntlet screen, Warno, location compromised. Rally to checkpoint C. The screen goes offline. Back to Soldier. He starts to run back to the door, but a rebel soldier meets him with a knife plunged into his throat. The rebel soldier holds him as he gargles and finally loses consciousness. He signals, and suddenly more rebel soldiers surround the building. They are dressed in similar armor to the Protectorate, but painted matte black. Each has a blood-red strip of cloth tied around their right biceps. They set a charge on 2 sets of doors and take cover. They look onto Lieutenant Colonel Sundara Tan, late 30s, a fierce-eyed Asian-descended man with a buzzed scalp showing off a wicked scar that wraps from the top of his head to the base of his cheek. The kind of scar that has a great story that goes alongside it. He holds a beep, then signals to blow the charge. The doors explode, and they move tactically into the building. Interior, Protectorate Safe House, continuous. Inside, Protectorate soldiers are slow to react, and the rebel soldiers light them up. Their blood coats the walls and floor. They scan the room filled with empty crates, food, makeshift cots, and a computer. Sundara walks through the room as his soldiers meticulously search the interior. Specialist 1 feels around until she notices a difference in the texture on the walls behind a bookshelf. She looks to Sundara and nods. Several rebel soldiers remove the bookshelf to reveal a door, and Specialist 1 uses a small device to find cables inside the wall. She uses a thermal cutter to cut through the steel. She removes a portion of the wall and pulls out some wires, patching them into another computer.
Breach in 3.
The door opens, revealing a staircase. The rebels quickly descend. Gunshots echo up the stairs.
We surrender, please.
Interior, Protectorate safe house, basement, continuous. Prisoner 1 and Prisoner 2 stand surrounded with their hands behind their heads. Rebel soldiers load up packs with as much valuable information they can find. Sundara stands off to the side. He taps his headpiece.
Havoc 3, Viper 6, over.
Viper 6, Havoc 3. Send it.
Sundara paces.
Site secure, negative for primary objective, break. 2 Sierra Uniform Foxtrot, awaiting secondary objectives, over.
Stand by. AO updated to Sector Bravo 2. How copy?
Good copy.
Sundara walks towards the 2 hostages.
And the captives?
At your discretion. Havoc out.
Sundara looks at Specialist 2.
Sir?
Sundara grabs one of the hostages and tips his head back, resting the muzzle of his gun against the man's forehead.
What do you know?
The man takes a shaky breath, but says clearly.
Nothing.
Sundara releases him and repeats the process to Prisoner 2, who immediately starts blubbering when the gun hits his forehead.
What do you...
I'll tell you everything. Everything. Just please don't kill me. They were here just about an hour ago.
Specialist 2 kicks him and he drops to his knees.
Oh, God, please, you don't...
Sundara shoots him in the head. The prisoner falls face down. He still struggles for air as blood pours from his head. Specialist 2 shoots him in the head again. His skull cracks. He stops breathing. Sundara motions to Prisoner 1.
Take him.
Interior, Rebel Base, War Room, day. Frankie drops her headset to her desk and turns back to the monitors. Communication is quiet. Nothing is flagged.
Damn it! Where did you go?
Senior Analyst 2 approaches Frankie. Frankie already dislikes the man before he opened his mouth. He looks stupid. Frankie shows no interest in him as she sips coffee with one hand while moving her mouse with the other. He stares.
I assume you were the only one who pulled that data on the safe house.
You assume correctly?
Edward McCarran wants to see you.
She stops what she's doing and looks up at him, frozen.
Now, please.
Interior Rebel Base, Situation Room, moments later. Analysts maneuver around a conference room table, some sitting and poring over maps and diagrams of the Martian battlefront. Edward is seated at the end of the table. He receives a folder from an analyst. Frankie slips into the room and stands at the end of the conference table.
And our sources inside 5th Battalion confirmed that General Sullivan already told us.
Edward locks eyes with Frankie, who is observing the room.
All right, all. That will be enough. Thank you.
Edward waves off the analysts. They clear the room. Edward stares at Frankie.
Sir?
Take a seat, Frankie.
Yes, sir.
Frankie looks around the room as she takes a seat near the middle of the table. The table is covered with reports and dossiers on key members of the rebellion. She assesses the piles of information within a blink.
Are you keeping tabs on your own people, sir?
Edward stands and walks around the table opposite Frankie. He looks down at the table.
You gathered all that from just this pile of junk here?
Yes, sir.
Edward looks visibly impressed.
I understand that might draw a red flag, but this is a complicated war. Betrayal, lies, families being forced to kill families. In any war, you have to know you can trust the person shooting to your left and right. This one particularly so.
He reaches down and flips the screen of a tablet which shows a dossier file on Keith Brennan. Dark eyes, dark complexion, and the gruff, emotionless expression of a career soldier.
Even Red Brennan?
Especially the ex-Protectorate General, Brennan.
Edward gazed drift to the dossier for a few moments.
Helps me sleep a little better at night.
Edward smiles, a look that seems to come easy to him.
Roger that, sir. So what am I doing here?
The Protectorate Safe House.
Frankie looks up.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
How did you know? I mean, you knew the ins and out of that place.
It really wasn't that difficult. I used to work for Homeland, so I recognize the pattern.
Edward considers a few beats, having an internal conversation.
What do you know about Laura Castor?
Castor? Laura. Well, 5'7", 128 pounds, dark hair, olive skin.
Right, but do we have a beat on her?
For someone like her, there are only two places she can go. Solas or Isabia. The trick is figuring out which one. They're big.
Edward laughs.
Cut right to it, don't you?
Frankie does not respond.
Listen, Frankie. I'm going to transfer you to a small team I'm creating to get a better line on Castor. You'll get whatever you need.
Well, sir, I don't know what to say.
You don't have to say anything. I've got orders for you right here. Now, unless you've got an alibi, that will be all.
No, sir. The punishment fits the crime.
She stands and salutes Edward. Edward returns the salute. She leaves the conference room. Interior rebel base, hallway continuous. Frankie leans against the wall and breathes out heavily.
Fuck me.
She smiles for the first time and walks off. Interior Mars, Meridiani City Capitol Building, day. Helena Chu, graceful, stately, and beautiful in her early 40s, sits in a barren holding cell, white-walled room with a small bed, table, and toilet. The door chimes, then promptly opens. 2 armed guards stand outside. A slick corporate lackey, Bruce Baylor, sharply dressed and schoolboy handsome in his early 30s, steps through. Helena continues her silence as Bruce waits to be acknowledged. She stays silent. She sets a table computer heavily down on the table.
Governor Chu?
He looks at the tablet, then her. She doesn't acknowledge.
Your continued cooperation in these troubling times is appreciated and crucial to the UNIC's diplomatic efforts to restore order to the region.
She finally acknowledges him with a flat stare.
Should your cooperation prove no longer relevant, well, I guess we wouldn't feel compelled to secure any kind of diplomatic immunity.
Exasperated, she takes the tablet and begins to examine it.
You do not have to threaten me every single time, Bruce.
The usual mundane duties of the governor's office, I'm afraid.
She signs the documents.
If you just let me speak to Rich.
President Trent.
President Trent.
In 4 hours, you'll be escorted to the broadcast room for your monthly address.
He takes the datapad from her and replaces it with another, with a script displayed.
I highly recommend you not deviate from your prepared remarks this time.
Bruce starts for the door.
Any progress on the investigation into Matwana's assassination?
The investigation continues. That is all I can tell you with your current clearance.
Bruce opens the door and passes through.
Read the script.
The door slams. Exterior, Hellas City, alleyway, day. Michael Lee hugs the wall of a commercial building and maintains a low profile. Above him are clean corporate-looking billboards displaying happy citizens in a green field. Text reads, "Celebrate the long-awaited Martian Independence Day this summer." Spray painted over it in blood red paint are the words "Lies" and "Fuck Earth." He rounds a corner but is grabbed from behind and thrown against a wall. A knife inches from his throat. Reveals Stavlos with the knife on Lee's throat. Umani recognizes Lee and pulls Stavlos away.
Lee!
Lee sees Umani's face, then hunches over, relieved.
Oh, God. Thank God.
Umani grabs Lee's gauntlet. She gives it a couple taps.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What do you do? What do you do? How do you get knocked offline?
Fucking protectorate. Net comm system. Secure? Secure my ass. Fucking shit is garbage.
Umani taps on her gauntlet. Lee gets a beep on his gauntlet.
That's the map of the AO. We're synced and online.
Just us, though. I don't think the rest of the division's figured out how to unfuck the rebel sorcery.
Shut the fuck up! Lee, on me.
She checks her gauntlet, then motions towards the end of the galley. They move out. Interior, Colt spacecraft, space. Super. Nizian sector, main belt. Every light and panel flashes in chaotic fashion. Alarms sound on top of each other. The HUD blinks, showing incoming fire tracking in red as a single target gets closer and closer. Colt deploys anti-missile decoys and takes evasive action to avoid an incoming volley. She's focused intently on the target. Her ship whips round and lines up an enemy craft as it makes a break in the opposite direction. She achieves a firing solution. She fires her forward guns. The sound of her machine gun is deafening. Colt's HUD marks destroyed targets with an X, which quickly disappear.
Dusted. Warlord 3, this is Stryker.
Stryker, Warlord 3, send it.
Confirm radar clear of Tangos. How copy?
That's a good copy, Stryker. 3 kills confirmed. Nice job.
Colt starts adjusting the waypoints on her navigation system. She makes a path for home base.
Roger that, Warlord 3. We are Romeo Tango Bravo. Out here.
3 random pirates flying hot in the bell. Downed by big badass Colt. I wonder what award she's getting this time.
Just a routine mission, Doghouse. Fall in and set your Romeo Papa.
There's a pause as the flight group falls into position.
What'd you get last time? Silver? Bronze Star?
There's laughter across the TACCOM.
I want to be just like Colt when I grow up.
All personnel in my squadron, need I remind you who's in command? So shut the fuck up and keep the comms clear for incoming communication. Roger?
Marconi with a faux serious look.
Aye, Striker. Commencing to shutting the fuck up.
Exterior space continuous. External RCS thrusters fire as Colt reorients her spacecraft and accelerates into the darkness of space. Exterior, Hellas City. Abandoned building, night. Rebel soldiers are pinned down in a street, taking suppressing fire from an abandoned and shot-up building. They return fire as a team snakes around the side of the building to breach. Before they can make their move, Heather and her team pop up from behind cover and massacre all the rebel soldiers. There's an eerie stillness as the last of the rebels struggle and die. Protectorate Soldier 2 quickly pops his out from behind a blown-out second-story window.
Friendlies!
Heather makes a few arm motions indicating they're about to enter. Interior, Hellas City, abandoned building, night. Blood, bodies, and debris litter the inside of the building. Light leaks into the building from the street lights through the hundreds of bullet holes.
Friendlies coming in.
Corporal Charles Matheson, sandy-haired and tan cowboy look in his early 30s, stands at the table with a screaming wounded soldier. Specialist Philip Anderson, late 20s, a street thug-looking Special Forces operative, stands across the table. Matheson assists Anderson with the screaming soldier while also holding a datapad CT scanner over various wounds. Medic 1, 20s, works on the squirting wounds while observing the CT imagery on the datapad. The wounded soldier is screaming and thrashing. It's chaos.
Hold him still, goddammit.
Matheson notices Heather and team entering.
Glad you made it, Sergeant.
He takes a quick moment while leaning a hard soldier into the thrashing soldier to tap a few commands on his gauntlet.
Ready for your jam sync.
Umani also keys her gauntlet, gets her bearings, and approaches Matheson. The team move in close around her amidst the chaos.
Corporal Matheson?
Lee slips on a puddle of blood, but stays upright. He pans the room to see the chaos within. What was once an exotic nightclub is now riddled with bullets, dead, and injured soldiers. The medic 1 looks stressed and glances over his soldier at the other wounded. He starts putting some medical equipment on the table next to the soldier.
Get this bullet out. I have to check the others.
Matheson hands the datapad to Anderson and gets wrist deep. Specialist Andrew Newen, 20s, small for a soldier, but the patch of demo specialist makes up for his lack of size. He screams in pain, clutching his leg. Blood and piss soaks his pants.
You're going to be fine. Relax.
Matheson begins digging into his abdomen, blood gushing all around. He's not gentle.
Sergeant?
Heather looks a bit unsettled with the setting of the conversation, but continues. Matheson multitasks like he's working on a car's hood.
Where's Sergeant Sykes?
He points with his gore-covered fingers to scattered remains of a body on the floor. Umani starts to lose her composure, but quickly snaps back.
It's just been you leading these soldiers?
Roger, Sergeant.
What's with the situation? How'd you end up here?
Matheson pulls out a bit of metal, examines it, and drops it on a cloth near the body. He goes back in.
Well, we landed about 2 clicks to the east right on the streets and made our way to the rally point. All was quiet.
The screaming soldier hits a crescendo, then passes out from blood loss of pain. Anderson and Matheson exchange a look.
I'll stim him.
Matheson nods and continues while Philip digs around in the tactical pockets.
The location was compromised. We realized that when we saw the bodies, they were waiting for us to get in, and all hell broke loose.
Command didn't think the rebels had the means to hack our tech?
Anderson jams an injection pin into the neck of the wounded soldier, who immediately jerks awake and resumes his screaming.
Well, Command seems to also think they're just modestly armed protesters.
Blood spurts out of the wound in a new wave. An artery's been severed. The stream hits Stavlos. Lee looks at him and starts to turn green. Stavlos is pissed.
Artery.
Matheson reaches over the body and Anderson hands him a laser cauterization pen. He sticks it into the soldier and cauterizes the nicked artery. Small puffs of smoke waft up from the soldier whenever Matheson pulls the trigger on the device.
Fuck this. We're down here getting our dicks handed to us so some corporate asshole can get richer.
Umani gets heated and breaks a tirade.
Wrong time and place, Stavlos.
There's an awkward moment.
Lieutenant James never showed?
Matheson puts the bloody medical clamps he had just been using into his teeth to take another shot at digging out the metal from the body cavity.
No, never shown.
Umani looks to the injured Nguyen being attended to by the Medic 1.
He your only demo man?
The Medic 1 nods.
Can he walk?
We can prop him up.
Umani paces and looks at her gauntlet. Matheson heaves a sigh and drops a giant twisted piece of metal into the cloth.
Patch him up. Give us 5 and we're ready to move, Sarge.
Anderson takes a grease gun-looking device and begins injecting antiseptic expanding foam into the cavities. It instantly seals the wounds in a flexible rubber-type foam.
Got any spray paint?
Exterior, Hellas City, abandoned building, moments later. Umani leads a group of soldiers into the alley away from the building. Behind them, spray painted on the wall, is a silver X. Interior, Nemesis Station, ready room, day. Colt, Marconi, and the rest of the flight team sit around a large table displaying a projection of their last mission. Bongani reviews the engagement. Colt sits rigidly attentive. Marconi lounges looking relatively bored. The rest of the flight wing falls somewhere between the two.
Clean engagement overall. Dismissed until 0630 for physical training.
Everyone begins to gather up their belongings. Colt lingers briefly and brings up a page on her tablet. On screen, engagement statistics, kills per second. 1. Jonathan Spaulding, 3. Confirmed kills, 32 seconds. 2. Lisa Colt, 3 confirmed kills, 34 seconds, etc.
Ooh, so close.
Colt slams her tablet closed and shovels it into her duffel. They begin to leave as a group. Victor, very proud of himself.
Colt, Admiral Illumide wants a word.
Colt stiffens and exits the line.
Yes, sir.
She exits through a door opposite where everyone else exits. Interior, Nemesis Station. Rear Admiral Olamide's office, moments later. Colt stands at attention looking out a giant window with a breathtaking view of Europa. Rear Admiral Harris Olamide, late 50s and portly stature, make him seem overly grandfatherly, walks into the room from behind her. He shambles over and sits at his desk. Colt marches to the front of the desk and salutes. Harris sighs, stands, and returns the salute. Colt drops her arm, and Harris takes his seat. He gestures for her to take a seat.
You can relax the customs and courtesies in here, Lieutenant. It's just you and me. I've known you since you were shitting your diapers.
Colt sits crisply.
Not shitting diapers anymore, sir. At least not recently. Maybe leave a note next time to call me into your office, sir? They say nepotism runs rampant in the military, and I hear things.
Things? Who cares about these things?
I do, sir. I need to know my shipmates have my back.
He leans forward and reviews a few documents.
Your shipmates have your back. Speaking of, that last mission, they would have been hurt without you. Fucking pirate shitheads.
Colt's cool front melts a little bit at the outburst.
Thank you, sir.
I saw your mum the other day.
The Admiral is in the belt?
You didn't know?
Colt's jaw sets a bit.
I thought you knew. She looked incredibly busy, so I'm sure she did not have the time.
He trails off.
I'm sure that's the case. The Admiral...
Your mother.
Yes, my mother. Very busy woman, historically.
Epic, awkward silence. Harris rubs his hands together, then sighs.
The reason I called you in here was not for a visit. SOCOM's requested you for a recon task force, targeting an alleged pirate stronghold off a supply line in our AO.
Colt looks skeptical.
Who's in charge?
You.
Colt wilts.
Sir, my advancement pace
Is the concern of this office and the Protectorate Command. Now, I'll need you to select members of your CAS group.
Anyone?
Absolutely anyone.
John Spaulding.
Illumide is stunned.
He's not even active military.
You said anyone.
Lisa, he was court-martialed.
Sir, respectfully, he's the best pilot we have. The best we've ever had.
But, for fuck's sakes, the man's a monster. No.
Lisa starts to speak.
I said no. Lisa, anyone else. Active military.
Lisa takes her time to respond.
I'll think about it and have a request order on your desk at 0600.
There is another awkward silence that stretches on. Illumide looks on disapprovingly, even more grandfatherly than before.
That all, sir?
Illumide leans back into his chair with a heavy sigh.
It comes with a promotion.
He opens a drawer and retrieves a jewelry case and sets it on the desk in front of Colt.
No, thank you, sir. Happy to serve and come back once the task force has successfully completed its mission.
Harris retrieves the box, letting his irritation show.
How'd I know you'd say that again?
Colt stands sharply, salutes.
Your mom is gonna kill me over this, you know.
Thank you, sir. Should I include my letter of declination with my RFP?
Harris shoos her out of his office.
Go on, get out of here. Brat.
Colt exits with a shit-eating grin on her face. Exterior, Rebel base, Rebel airfield, day. An aircraft lands near the edge of a Martian city. 6 Rebel soldiers exit the craft with the prisoner. They make their way to a building adjacent to the landing pad. Interior Rebel base, war room, continuous. Sundara and his team enter the war room. Edward stands at center analyzing incoming data. Frankie and other analysts look over documents and type data into the computer systems. Edward looks up to see Sundara approaching. Sundara salutes. Edward motions to the computers, which are going through a treasure trove of photos, recon data, and other relevant intelligence on Protectorate movements and VIPs.
You really hit a gold mine with this intel you've collected. That we did. The prisoner is being prepared in room 3.
McCarran nods slowly as Sundara makes for the exit.
Good. Let's debrief after.
McCarran turns to Frankie's station.
Frankie, I want you in there watching with Sundara.
Sundara exits. She hastily follows. Interior, Rebel Base Interrogation Monitoring Room, continuous. Frankie, Senior Analyst 2, and Sundara walk into a small room that is adjacent, another room via one-way mirror. Recording devices record what's going on in the room from various angles. They watch Prisoner 1 through the monitors as he's interrogated by 2 guards. He's seated, his wrist chained to a desk. Frankie zones in on the camera view of his face. His name reads below it, Jared Ander.
Someone got McCarran?
She grabs a tablet and starts working on it furiously. On the tablet, information about the prisoner. Focus on Jared Ander. Back to scene.
Someone got McCarran. Now.
Frankie looks up, her face excited. She shows what's on her tablet, a side-by-side photo of the hostage with a different shot of recon footage. Name, Jasper Wong.
That's no Jared Ander. That's Jasper Wong.
Everyone looks at the monitor. Interior, Meridani, changing room, day. Helena strips. Guard 1 grabs her clothes, searching for any unauthorized objects. Jim Washington, 30s, the other guard, looks on uncomfortably. Guard 1 gestures the clothes are good and returns them to Helena. She takes her clothes, annoyed, and gets dressed. Interior, Meridani, hallway, moments later. Helena walks down a long hallway with guards on either side, a stale look on her face. Minnie Farina, in the eve of her 50s and not aging well despite being smartly dressed, scrutinizes Helena through beady rat-like eyes, looking up and down the length of her white dress.
Absolutely not.
Jim looks to a readout.
Ma'am?
Bruce walks up from the chaos of people behind Minnie.
We are minutes from ready.
Much more than that. This will not work.
Bruce looks at Helena, then at the guards.
Was this the outfit that was set out from the approved garments report?
Yes, sir.
Bruce looks back to Minnie, who shakes her head and wanders back into the chaos, looking disappointed.
Go change. I'll send the neo-approved wardrobe.
Helena turns tightly, and the guards follow. Interior, Rebel Base, Interrogation Monitoring Room, day. Edward storms into the Interrogation Monitoring Room. Everyone turns and stands at attention.
Where is that son of a...
Edward's eyes immediately go to the screen with Jasper's face. His eyes go wide, and he quickly exits the room. Through one of the screens, we see Edward enter the room like a storm cloud. Senior Analyst 2 starts for the door, but Frankie grabs their arm.
Just wait.
We can't kill him.
I said wait.
Sundara has been standing quietly in the corner until now. He moves like a stalking mountain cat to block the door, putting Senior Analyst 2 between Frankie and Sundara.
McCarran would not appreciate being interrupted. I'd suggest not recording this.
Senior Analyst 2 looks about ready to puke. Interior Rebel Base, Interrogation Room, continuous. Edward stands ominously, looming over Jasper. Edward takes his tie clip off, which is a long, pointed, silver-looking metal with a starburst cut diamond of some size nestled atop it. He shows it to Jasper.
Do you recognize this?
Jasper looks at the clip, confused slightly, and then back to Ed.
This was his. He wore it the night you and yours killed him.
Edward sets the tie clip down gently on the table situated in front of Jasper.
I am going to kill you with that.
He indicates a small, pointed tie clip. Jasper's eyes settle once again on the small tie clip and go a little wide. Interior, Meridani, green room, later. Helena Chu sits in a waiting room. It's a typical broadcast green room. A large water carafe, glass, fresh fruit, and dry snacks are on the table. Helena now is in a tight, high-collared burgundy dress, her hair and makeup being worked on. She sits in silence. People move in and out of her room hastily. They ignore Helena. A person with a headset stands in the doorway toward the set, looking back and forth from Helena to the stage. Makeup and hair finish and leave without a word. Jim and the other guards stand to either side of her. Jim walks to the water carafe and pours a glass. He walks it over to Helena and offers it to her.
Some water, ma'am?
She looks up and considers the glass with a small smile before taking it. Jim resumes his station. The other guard looks on disapprovingly. Helena holds the glass, staring at it for a second, recalling something that stirs emotion. She downs the water.
Governor Chu, please report to set.
Helena rips the napkin protector from her bodice and hands Jim the empty glass.
Thank you.
She walks with new resolve out of the room. Interior Rebel Base, McCarran private room. Moments later. Edward, Frankie, and Sundara enter the room. Edward grabs an ice bucket and cleans his bloody hands and the grisly-looking tie clip. Edward turns on the television and begins flipping from news station to news station, every so often pulling a feed off to the side so it runs independently of the main feed, muted.
So, Solus.
Frankie perks up at the mention of this.
The Protectorate has a stronghold there. When she made it there, she'll no longer be out in the open.
McCarran moves over to a countertop and begins to make himself a cup of tea while he listens.
It's too well defended for us to initiate a door-to-door search.
Edward focuses his attention on the stoic Sundara.
Well, my team will intercept her trying to enter Solus City. Take whatever you need, my friend. I always do.
Sundara makes his way to the door.
What about Governor Chu? Cast her first, then we rescue Helena.
Sundara exits. Frankie's gaze lingers on the door.
That is one scary individual.
Edward is distracted with making tea.
Oh, Sundara? He's a puppy compared to what he once was.
Frankie is taken aback. She gathers her thoughts while watching Edward make his tea.
She holds zero tactical advantage.
Edward goes to his desk, calmly sipping tea and moving on to other business.
Helena? I want her because the Protectorate wants her. And I'm in the business of denying them anything and everything they want. And because I owe Brennan.
Wait, what do Helena Chu and Keith Brennan have to do with each other?
Edward seems to get a bit angry.
Don't you think that's enough for questions for today?
Frankie, confused, exits without further remark. Interior, Hellas City, streets, night. Umani, Lee, Stavlos, Matheson, and the other soldiers reach a corner at the end of the alley. A firefight is heard nearby. Umani pokes out of the corner and sees a huge battle underway almost 5 clicks away.
Do we have a whisker?
Anderson pulls out what appears to be a long-range laser, lines it up with a small target within the firefight. On the whisker, LOS communication link. A dialogue for authentication appears.
Authentication code.
Echo, Echo, Bravo, Zulu, Tango, Whiskey, November, Foxtrot, Echo.
He enters it as it's read out. Punches confirm. Umani's and everyone else's communications come online, and they can suddenly hear the communications happening in the firefight in the distance. Exterior, Hellas City, Protectorate Defense Facility, continuous. Sergeant First Class Taylor Diodore, stereotypical tall, dark, and swarthy Frenchman in his 30s, huddles behind a wall, screaming into his headset, alternating between French and English. Skanda and Pavel take turns firing behind him. Bullets, explosions, and subsequent debris rain down on them.
Bear 2-1, proceed with extreme prejudice to target. You're pinned down at Mike Zulu 067-50832, southwest of ORP Zulu 2. First platoon, go to...
Lieutenant James? Sir?
Sergeant Umani?
Yes, sir. We thought you were dead.
Not dead. Almost. What's your sit rep?
Exterior, Hellas City, streets, continuous. Umani stares at the fight.
We've got one injured, barely conscious, but we've got a spot up.
Roger that. You have any explosive personnel with you?
Umani turns back. They all point to the injured soldier.
Yes, sir. I do, sir.
We're pinned down here, Sergeant, with no opportunity for egress. I'm going to need you to head up to the surface and scuttle the ADA battery so we can give our boys topside a chance to land before this dust storm makes it impossible.
Exterior, Hellas City, Protectorate Defense Facility, continuous. Pavel's shoulder explodes in a cloud of bone and blood.
Fuck!
Skanda and Diodore drag his limp body down from the cover he was behind. Blood is streaming out of the hole where his shoulder used to be.
Medic!
Skanda's eyes glaze over as he looks in shock at his dying friend. He drags Pavel behind cover. Medic 2 arrives and starts combat life-saving procedures.
Skanda!
Skanda's mouth moves, but words don't come out. Diodore grabs him.
Skanda, hey, get your head back in this. There's nothing we can do for him. Watch your sector and keep firing at the enemy.
Skanda nods rigidly and returns to his position, looking back at Pavel as he moves. Medic 2 works on Pavel, sealing the areas of his armor and wound with antiseptic expanding foam.
Marscom 3, Bear 2-4, I have a med evac request, over.
Bear 2-4, Marscom 3, hold 2.
Medic 2 tries his hardest not to destroy the commo gear.
Fuck!
Interior, Nemesis Station, squad quarters, day. Colt enters the barracks with her squad already there in various states of leisure.
Missed you at dinner.
How's the surf and the turf with the Admiral?
The other pilots laugh at the banter.
I bet it was real beef.
Seriously though, what's up?
New task force.
Lisa walks to her bunk and extracts a datapad from the wall. She focuses on it, leaving everyone waiting for more information that does not appear to be coming.
Teacher's pet getting a fancy new assignment again? Promotion too?
Marconi eyes the room, expecting laughter and encouragement. Instead, everyone goes back to what they were doing.
Yep, thought so.
He resumes what he was up to. Lisa punches some commands in irritation. Azarov, Navarro, and Marconi all react when their datapads chime and illuminate with a new message. Marconi looks at his tablet in his bunk, face down, the bed brightening and dimming from the message. Marconi picks it up and looks at it, surprised.
What the?
His eyes go wide. On Marconi's screen, report 0430, Task Force Assignment, Operation Paladin. Designation, classified. Command, Lieutenant Lisa Colt. Azarov chuckles, Navarro points at Marconi and smiles broadly. Lisa drops the datapad on the bed, lays back, and smiles. Interior, Mars, Capitol Building broadcast set, day. Helena Chu sits at a lavish desk marked by a eunuch seal with the Protectorate and Mars flags in the background. It's a broadcast set with crew and assistants bustling around the scene preparing for the live broadcast. Mina Farina enters and the room explodes into activity as if hit by her aura. Everyone looks down in fear of being called out. She approaches the desk with a datapad.
We finished putting the final touches on your script.
Without breaking eye contact, Helena takes the datapad.
I trust that I need not to remind you that President Trent has empowered me to take whatever measures I deem necessary to ensure your complete cooperation in resolving this unfortunate turn of events.
Helena just stares her down. Minnie gets in her face.
Should I feel the UNIC would benefit from your very public execution, it would happen.
She slides the datapad closer to Helena.
This will be exactly what you'll see in the teleprompter. Read it, word for word, and do not deviate.
Exterior, Hellas City, surface streets, night. A fire team of rebel soldiers stand guard at an intersection in the shadow of the colossal howitzer. The dust storm clouds visibility, but they are alert as bombs and small arms fire go off in the background. Rebel Soldier 1 looks off towards the light show for a split second, and something smears across the visor of his helmet.
What the fuck is...
He starts to wipe it off, looks at his hand and sees it's blood. He quickly looks to his companion.
Hey, did you...
His words are cut off as his chest erupts in a spray of blood and bone fragments. Silenced sidearms fire off as Umani and her team approach from behind. Stavlos walks up and pops both rebels in the head once for good measure.
Clear.
Umani approaches Nguyen.
Do you know where you need to plant the explosives?
Nguyen nods. Exterior, Hellas City, industrial building, continuous. Matheson and Anderson scramble up the exterior rigging of an industrial building and find a perch. They deploy portable cover. Matheson levels up his high-caliber sniper rifle at the building and peers down the scope. The visibility sucks, he can't see anything. Anderson gets positioned next to him, armed with binoculars, the whisker, and a small datapad. Anderson gets to work on the datapad.
Storm has me blacked out. Switching into MOD.
He makes some adjustments on his scope. The feed on Anderson's screen goes into a fusion of thermal and microwave imaging, drastically reducing the effects of the storm.
SOCOM says the storm is at 12% strength, increasing to 83% within the hour.
Great. Clock's ticking on our window of opportunity.
Exterior, Hellas City, surface streets, night. A few soldiers hide the corpses of fallen guards. Heather eyes Newen, who is looking gray and drawn from blood loss.
Copy that. Let's move.
They move out in a staggered formation. Exterior, Hellas City, rooftop, moments later. The massive howitzer is part of a major installation at the peak of one of the ranges nearest to Hellas City, near a sprawling solar farm. The visibility is horrible in the storm, and the clouds of dust are illuminated with every round the gun fires.
Most of the active sensor net was scuttled, so you should be hard to spot if you stay low.
Through Matheson's scope, Squad 2-1 makes their way across the surface streets to the complex. They stack up against the wall and prep for entry. The soldiers set up a relay antenna at the door.
Bear 3-2, Bear 2-1, moving into position. How copy?
Bear 2-1, Bear 3-2. Good copy. Got your back.
Anderson types away at his datapad.
Almost in.
There's a squad spread out around the complex. A guard pops around the corner and approaches the door where Umani and the team are setting up to breach.
Contact. 11 o'clock. Ground level. Single target. 5 seconds to you. 2-1.
Copy.
Almost.
He makes the corner. Before he can raise his gun, Matheson pops off a shot and his head explodes.
We needed them in that fucking building 10 mics ago. Type faster.
That's not how this works. It doesn't go any faster.
Through the scope, we see the doors open.
We're in.
Exterior, Hellas City, air defense artillery gun, continuous. They enter and clear the room, a fast flurry of gunfire, then all is still. Soldiers drag the corpse from outside in as they enter.
You three, go get the explosive set. We will hold up this position.
Lee nods and carries Newen with Soldier 1. Umani takes the remaining team members and set up a defense position.
Bear 2-1 in position.
As soon as she says that, a technician comes around a far corner. Silenced sidearms fire off, and the technician splatters everywhere. Shouts are heard from down the hall. Alarms start to go off. Interior, air defense artillery, hallway, continuous. Lee, Newen, and Soldier 1 make their way deeper into the installation. Alarms now going off around them.
There are 3 main support structures for the gun itself. We don't have enough ordnance to take out the whole building, so focus on the gun.
They round a corner and 2 rebel guards fire on them. They duck back around the corner. They set Newen down. While ducking gunfire, he pulls a football-sized explosive charge out of his bag and begins the complicated process of arming it. On his screen, the controls he rolls through have several settings of explosion patterns to choose from. He makes a selection and puts the now armed charge back in his pack. Lee and Soldier finally kill off both guards. They scoop up Newen and they continue on. Exterior, air defense artillery gun, continuous. It's a full-on firefight at the southern entrance. Rounds ricochet off the walls, hitting close to Umani and Stavlos. In the distance, more rebel forces approach. Exterior, Hellas City, rooftop, continuous. Matheson spots a rebel squad below scrambled to a vehicle. He squeezes off a round and removes the head from a rebel's body. A few straggling foot soldiers dive behind cover. The vehicle tears off for the southern entrance. Tracer fire from machine guns light up the building all around Matheson and Anderson.
Fuck!
Debris and rounds rain down on their position. The machine gunner shooting at them doesn't know their exact location, but paints the entire sector.
Get me a spot on that gunner.
Anderson grits his teeth as he tries to keep the binoculars still amid the metallic hot hail. He locks onto the gunner and tries to paint him with the digital tracking mark. It fails.
The storm's too heavy. Can't get a lock.
Range it. Going manual.
20 kilometers per hour. East, southeast, range 2.5.
No sooner does he finish when Matheson fires, and the machine gun immediately stops.
Fucking machine guns.
Small arms fire now lights up the area below them. The machine gun fire resumes as a new gunner takes up the vehicle-mounted weapon. A spotlight on the building illuminates and begins scanning the facade where Matheson and Anderson are hiding. Matheson goes on a rampage.
Bear 2-3, Bear 2-1. Be advised, there's a vehicle on your 6.
Bang! Soldier dead.
Anderson, kill that light!
Bang! Another soldier dead.
Working on it.
Anderson picks up the whisker, targeting the building while typing on the datapad. Within seconds, the power to the front section of the building dies, the spotlights, and the alarm with it.
I strongly recommend you move your asses.
Interior, air defense artillery, hallway, continuous. Newen and the team come around a corner. Newen points to a structure that has a vent in it. He pulls out the arm charge, activates it, and hands it to Lee.
There, main vent. They use the gaps in the superstructure to run the venting. Put the first one in there, the rest need.
Newen pales and passes out. Soldier 1 and Lee share a concerned look when they realize he's done talking.
Stim him.
Lee places the charge. Soldier 1 stabs him with a stim. Nguyen is unresponsive. Soldier 1 looks at Lee and shrugs.
Fuck, okay. Do you know how I earned these?
He indicates the 2 remaining charges in Nguyen's pack. Soldier 1 shakes his head. Lee looks distraught, looking up and down the halls, thinking quickly.
Fuck it. They'll set each other off, right?
He dumps the other 2 unarmed charges next to the first.
Not if they're smartphones.
Fuck, man. Do you know what you're doing or not?
No.
Fine. Mission complete. Grab him.
They hoist Nguyen and move out. Lee shoots a concerned look back at the abandoned explosives. Exterior, Hella City rooftop, continuous. Another Martian soldier makes a run for the northern entrance, but is gunned down by Matheson. The vehicle-mounted machine gun saws the building around them in half. Matheson takes a shrapnel to the leg.
Fuck! Am I hit?
Anderson is pinned down, looks at Matheson's thigh. The armor is shredded and gushing blood.
Yes, thigh.
Matheson rolls over onto his back, staying low. He removes a couple patch kits from a chest compartment and uses his teeth to hold and rip open the packs. He starts to seal his suit. It's venting pressure and oxygen.
Find the motherfucker who shot me.
You good?
I'm offended you had to ask that.
Anderson returns to the whisker, targeting the vehicle. After a beat, the vehicle abruptly stops.
Bear 2-1, objective complete. Cover our egress.
About goddamn time.
Mostly sealed, he rolls over and resumes his shooting position. Matheson starts ripping up the vehicle. Pieces of the vehicle fly off with every hit. The driver starts to exit the vehicle, but catches a bullet in the head. Umani and the team burst from the southern door behind the Martian rebel positions and open fire at them.
Friendlies in the open.
They shoot their way through with Matheson's help. Anderson and Matheson start to break down the large sniper rifle.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Anderson packs up the gear and concealment cover. Exterior, air defense artillery gun, continuous. Umani, Stavlos, and the other soldier make it 300 meters away from the building's entrance and get behind a jersey barrier. They curl up behind the wall. Nothing. Umani pops her head up. After a beat, figures burst through the doorway. It's Lee and Soldier 1 carrying Nguyen. They race across the open ground.
Lee, you guys better move your asses.
Just then, rebels swarm from within the bunker and open fire, taking Lee and his companions several times in the back. They fall and begin to drag themselves towards the barricades. Stavlos gets up from his cover and makes for the door. Umani grabs him and wrestles him to the ground.
Leave no man behind. We can't leave.
The building explodes and a fireball extends from the entrance, engulfing the fallen. Interior, Meridani, broadcast set, night. The red light on the camera turns on and Helena takes a deep breath.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening from Mars. For 4 months, our soil has been living under threat from within. The acts of cowards, heedless of any reason, have wrought havoc within our cities, killed our brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, sons and daughters. The Protectorate forces and the goodwill of the United Nations Interplanetary Council being the only thing to stand between us and the darkness these terrorists will pull us down into. It is the act of a spineless coward to prey upon one's own people. There is, however, a beacon of hope, in that so many of you, the Martian people, stand resolutely within the UNIC and President Trent. Your outpouring of information leading to the capture and arrest of these terrorists has been overwhelming and instrumental in the efforts to bring these criminals to justice.
Jim Washington approaches Minnie Farina with an AGM Corps executive and whispers to her. They leave her position behind the camera and disappear into the shadows behind the lights. Helena notices and pauses, taking a deep breath before continuing, totally off script.
We must end this war. We stand at the brink of our own destruction. Please, I beg you, stop the fighting. This war has taken everything from me, as it has from so many of the others.
Interior, rebel base, war room, continuous. Everyone in the room stands in still silence, watching Helena chew on a projection. Frankie looks away from her computer screen to watch Helena speak.
Edward, Keith, please. They are not going to stop until everything we have built is destroyed. You must end this. I cannot. We must not endure another moment of this fighting.
Her tear-filled eyes jerk from the lens. Interior, Meridani, broadcast set, continuous. The broadcast screen for the outbound signal goes blank. The teleprompter continues scrolling what remains of her prepared speech. Minnie stands behind the broadcast personnel booth, in the shadows, slowly clapping, a wicked smile on her face. The AGM Corp executive is being ushered out by Jim.
You have no idea what you've just done.
She motions for Helena to follow her. Exterior, Air Defense Artillery Battery, morning. Umani meets up with Stavlos and 2 other soldiers. She takes a seat with them. Aircraft land, trucks move equipment, and soldiers build a fortification. James approaches Umani. All of the soldiers stand at attention. Sir?
Relax, guys.
Umani notices the 2 bars of a captain on the former First Lieutenant Randall James' uniform.
Congratulations, sir.
He looks at his rank.
If we're under different terms, it'd be a congratulations. But being that most of our leadership has died, maybe not so.
Umani puts her head down, sullen.
It's unfortunate how these things happen.
I suppose it is.
James pulls out 2 golden lieutenant bars and holds them in his hand.
Sergeant Umani, I can't imagine a greater non-commissioned officer other than you. That's why the corps of non-commissioned officers will miss your leadership.
Umani looks confused.
It is unfortunate, but being able to do this is probably a proud moment for me. In any case, I'm the company commander now.
Stavlos cannot help but roll his eyes behind his back. James rips the sergeant stripes off Umani's uniform and pins on the 2nd lieutenant rank. Stavlos and the other soldiers realize what's happening and stand to attention.
You've received a direct commission to the rank of 2nd lieutenant and will operate as the platoon leader. This rank was pinned on me by my father. Now I'm pinning this rank onto you.
James looks at Stavlos and walks up to him. He pulls out 2 baby pins and pins the sergeant ranks onto Stavlos.
Stavlos! You've been battlefield promoted to the rank of sergeant.
He slaps the ranks on Stavlos.
Sergeant John Stavlos, give 2nd Lieutenant Heather Umani her first salute.
Roger that, sir. It'd be my honor.
Stavlos stands in front of Umani, salutes sharply.
You deserve this, sir. Ma'am.
Umani returns a salute. Stavlos drops his.
Heather, gather what's left of your platoon and fall in.
A large group of troops amass and stand at attention, bathed in the firelight of the burning ADA building. James stands out in front of them with his command staff and addresses the troops.
Today was a day of victory for Bear Company. Today was also a very rough day. We lost many good troops. They lived and died serving a purpose greater than themselves. Let's remember this day. Let's remember our fellow soldiers. Let's also remember one word: resilience. The enemy knew every move we were going to make. They knew every bit of information on the battlefield, but that didn't dampen our resolve. We remained resilient. Well done, but we're not finished. Cobra Company and Eagle Company are pinned down outside of Huyen's airfield, and Marscom has called on us to bail them out. Right now it's ground fighting, and we want to keep it that way. We cannot let them seize control of any Martian air assets.
The troops stir at this, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
Stow your shit and get ready to move out by 0500.
He and his command team move out. The troops begin to break file and load vehicles. Umani and Stavlos stand together and look out over the roof complex of Hellas City. Umani rubs her rank.
I don't know how to feel about this. Would have felt better to earn it instead of filling a dead soldier's shoes.
You lived. You earned it. And I'd rather it be you than someone else. So hooah and all that noise.
A chime rings out from her gauntlet. It reads Casualty Report, Bear Company, Umani Squad. Skanda and Pavel show as killed in action. She sets her jaw and shows her screen to Stavlos.
Fuck.
A screaming sounds out as bunker busters begin hitting the shell covering the city. Delayed gouts of fire spring forth from the holes left in the covering. Matheson pulls up in a truck.
You ladies ready for more? No offense, Sergeant.
Matheson sees Umani's rank.
Holy shit. Ma'am?
Shouldn't you be in a medical bay somewhere?
Matheson looks down at his wounded leg.
Shit. Someone's gotta keep an eye on you kids.
He motions to the driver and they roll out. Umani and team make for their vehicle. All the vehicles ride towards the engagement. Interior, Gale Crater, Mount Sharp Factory Hangar, night. Diodore, Skanda, and a barely conscious Pavel wake up inside an APC as the doors are opened. Transports and other rebels move around and load up various military cargo from a fallback defensive position inside some kind of factory. An armored personnel carrier pulls up and troops spill out, followed by a soldier seated in the passenger seat staring at the final screen of Helena's broadcast. The passenger hops out of the van in armor painted almost entirely in red. Pavel notices. He grabs Skanda's leg and gestures.
What's up with you, man? What? I can't hear you.
Pavel mouths the words Red Brennan to Skanda, who turns. Keith Brennan stands towering over them in blood-red armor that contrasts menacingly with his dark black face and cold-set black eyes. He radiates power like a tiger. Brennan stands amid the swirls of troops and transports, smoke and dust, like a statue. Brennan looks directly at Skanda.
We are going to have a talk. When I'm done, if you'd like to leave, you can. Something tells me you won't.
Brennan jumps into his APC and speeds off deeper into the facility. Skanda looks around. Nearby, a team of engineers works on a freighter, affixing weapon payloads into a reinforced container. The rebels are building warships. The factory's full of corporate freighters. One is having a logo removed. Lady Orion, and is getting a fresh coat of blood red powder coat. Fade out.